Hey, what's up, John?
Good morning, Robert. How you doing?
Good morning, man. How you been?
Magnificent. You?
Terrific. Better than good is what I always like to say, because that's how I
Oh,
feel inside.
oh yes.
Yeah, man. It's so good to connect with you. The last time I connected with you, I guess was on the cruise, the Abraham Hicks cruise.
And the dinner before. I think that's where we met initially, the night before the cruise started, right?
That's right, in Fort Lauderdale. Yeah.
Yes.
The dinner before the cruise. That was pretty cool. Yeah. I remember when you first came in, I could tell your energy was different than the rest. I don't know. It was just something about you I just resonated with right away. It was something with your energy, like I don't know, your positivity or your lightness or your effortlessness. Couldn't figure out what it was. And then we had gotten into some good conversations there at the dinner. Do you remember some of the things we talked about?
I don't specifically, but I remember the same feeling that you're noting where I looked at you and I was like, this guy is like making the decision in every moment to line up with himself, to line up with life, to line up with where he wants to go. And I remember that feeling, and it's all about the feeling.
Yeah, feeling good. I mean, that's actually what drew me to Abraham Hicks's message and law of attraction, that kind of stuff, was that feeling good. I've always resonated with that and the energy and when I seen that. So when you had come in, I just kind of resonated with that. And then I heard you talking at the table and stuff and about some of the things you were talking about, like consciousness, being conscious and, exploring consciousness. Then you talked about Abraham Hicks, and then you talked about Joe and your experiences with Joe and all that. So yeah, maybe you could just basically what this channel is that I have set up now is called Effortless Being. And so what it is, since I've been on the Abraham Hicks cruises and things like that, I actually wrote a book, this one here.
Oh, no way. Very cool.
Yeah, I wrote a book. It's called I'm Here, I Feel Good, and I Hope You Do Too. And it's living in alignment with the law of attraction. And the whole book is about my experiences with Abraham Hicks, some of the teachings of Abraham Hicks, the pointings about manifesting, feeling good, being in alignment, that sort of thing. And then beyond that, I had the first book I had written before that, before I actually went on the Abraham Hicks cruises, was Awakening to Effortless Being. And this one is Realizing Your Infinite Self. So it's kind of in alignment,
Magnificent.
like what Joe Dispenza talks about, like, when you're going within and you're meditating and you're realizing your true nature and you're realizing, you ask that question, like, what am I? What am I really? And then when you meditate on the meditator, then you can really see, what your true nature is. So a lot of things that you were doing and stuff was resonating with me, and a lot of people that I meet on the cruises, the Abraham Hicks cruises, those in the law of attraction community, they seem really drawn to manifesting, and they seem to want to have their best life, or they seem to question life, like, is this really all there is? Just living a couple of years, and maybe a lot of them feel limited, like people feel limited, so then they want more out of life because they view themselves as like this separate self, this separate entity that's limited, and they have to put forth all this effort and striving to manifest their dreams or to get what they want out of life. Because intuitively, it seems like everyone knows that they want more out of life. They want that they deserve better, and but they just don't seem to be having it in their lives. But and I think that's why that resonated with me a lot with Abraham Hicks and Joe Dispenza and Bashar. I know you had talked to me about Bashar, and I had not heard about Bashar until our conversation there at dinner. And so I did start listening to some of his messages, and it kind of resonates along the same lines, like creating your own reality was always a common theme, being empowered, you know, to get what you want, and consciousness and infinite being and things like that. And then so that was like all tying together to me. And then I don't know, it just all just kind of came out. Then I heard about you on an interview you just did. You had it on your Facebook. So talk to me about that interview that you did.
Huh. I've been doing a couple lately, so I'm not sure exactly which one it is, but they're all symbols of my passion and excitement for the same concepts you were just discussing. What is reality? What is possible here? And aligning with others who are excited for the same game, essentially. It's fascinating to contemplate how many years of my life I never stopped to say, what is this and who am I and what's happening here, right? Like stepping back and zooming out to the broadest perspective. And I have many passions in physical life, but my highest passion is just exploring and understanding what the whole system and reality is in and of itself. And it's been really cool in focusing in on that to meet so many other people who are playing that exact same game. Um, Again, I spent years, everyone's always looking back, and maybe at some point I'm going to completely shed this idea of looking back, but I use it to milk how exciting it is to be where I am right now. Right. I was trying to force people I knew to play the same game I was playing and look at the same questions and ideas that I was looking at, and they had no interest. And when I simply let them be and focused myself and my excitement and started doing what excited me, I met awesome people such as yourself and all these other people at Joe Dispenza and Bashar and Abraham events who are playing the same game. And my life is just exploding with people who are excited and eager to explore consciousness. And all these interviews, all these groups, all these conversations are just exploding into my reality. And I'd like to say they bring me much joy, but if I understand the law of attraction and creation, I brought joy to myself, and now reality is reflecting it through all these people and groups. Um, so yeah, all the conversations, all the interviews are generally on what reality and life is in and of itself.
That's beautifully said, and I do resonate with a lot of things you're saying. And in particular, I want to focus in on the law of attraction. And do you find like with the law of attraction, do you find like is it becoming more effortless for you to manifest what you want, or do you feel like, you have to put forth like a lot of effort to get what it is that you want out of life? What has your experience been with the law of attraction?
I love that question, and I'd love to hear your perspective on it after I share mine. It's been shifting. So a few years ago, when I first heard the most common phrase, "you create your own reality,"
Right.
I stopped and was like, "What? That
Yeah.
must mean if I want a bike, I can have a bike. If I want $1 million, I can have $1 million." And I was approaching it really from the physical form of creating an idea of something that brought me excitement and passion and saying, I'm going to get that. And I recognize that most certainly as being a key element of the law of attraction. And I recognize, as Abraham says, we can be, do, or have anything we want. But the more I've been playing this game, the more I'm discovering a subtle nuance to it, which everyone I follow, Bashar, Abraham, Dr. Joe, seems to speak on. And they're suggesting that the physical manifestation you think you want is not necessarily what you want. What you truly want is the journey to recognize yourself as an unlimited being. And what's essentially happening is you receive the desire and the excitement. Ooh, I'd love to have this experience. I'd love to have this physical thing. And in your focusing upon and journeying towards that, what you actually do is start to uncover all sorts of limiting beliefs within yourself, within your personality structure, and recognize them to be false, and then change your personality structure, which inherently is, I mean, if you're changing towards the better feeling, you're inherently limiting yourself less and less or making yourself more and more unlimited. It's funny how the English language points more towards limitation. We don't even have words to describe a lot of these things, but they
Right.
point towards freedom, expansiveness, um, complete enjoyment. And I've been playing with the law of attraction more so in the excitement of the journey and finding real excitement and joy in uncovering a limited belief through the negative emotion and then transmuting that belief within myself rather than focusing so much on objects or relationships or people. And what I'm seeing subtly start to happen is it just, some of these things are just naturally coming forth in the most unexpected way as a result of me changing my personality and myself and my belief structure. Because initially the efforting to focus on the $1 million without changing myself, I see from the perspective I'm at now, it's actually impossible. Dr. Joe says you can't create a new personal reality from the same personality. You literally have to become a new person who thinks, feels, and acts differently in order to live that life. So it's kind of a subtler spin on that. And yeah, that's where I'm at. I'd love to hear where you're at.
Yeah, so I mean, as far as manifesting, when that first came about, The Secret came out with Rhonda Byrne. I don't know if you're familiar with, have you heard of The Secret? So she had come out with
Yes.
that, and that kind of like resonated with me. Because that's when I first learned about you can create your own reality and you can manifest. And that it kind of excited me. Yeah, being financially free, I'm not having to worry about money. You can do or have anything you want. Have the perfect relationship, the perfect health, never have to worry about anything and just live life on my terms. All those things appeal to me. What I found was with The Secret, though, is when I tried to do it, um, you do like a lot of visualization, you have like vision boards, and then you try to like, imagine yourself there, and then you would like act as if you already had what it is that you wanted. Some of that felt to me like I was putting forth like a lot of effort and striving to do that. And so then I kind of like lost a little bit of interest in it. But then she came out with another book called The Greatest Secret. So I don't know if you're familiar with that book, The Greatest Secret.
No,
Yeah, that's
no.
her latest book. Rhonda Byrne's latest book, the follow-up to The Secret. It's called The Greatest Secret. And in that book, she talks about more about discovering your true nature, realizing your true self. So it was all about self-realization, realizing what you truly are, and that's what it was all about. So, and she had like Eckhart Tolle in there. You know who Eckhart Tolle is? Yeah, he speaks a
Yes.
lot in that. He's in that book. A lot of what he was saying was resonating with me. So I had read some of his books, like The Power of Now and New Heaven and New Earth was two other books that Eckhart Tolle had put out. And then in the book, in The Greatest Secret, a lot what she was saying was resonating with me. And she said, Rhonda Byrne, who was the author of that book, said that she had learned her true nature through David Bingham. So then I said, okay, well, and then David was talking in the book, in the audio book, sharing some things about discovering your true nature and your infinite self. And one of the things he said is that you are the infinite being having a human experience. For some reason, that
Mm.
hit me. When that hit me, it was almost like previously I was identifying with being like this limited, separate person, but to put forth all this effort to get what I wanted. And I was identifying with being this limited self. And then when I heard those words, you are the infinite being having a human experience, all of a sudden it put everything in perspective for me. It's like, wait a second, what I truly am is I'm the infinite being, the pristine, impersonal, infinite being, the effortless being. Like I felt like it took no effort just to be, but yet I was still having this human experience in duality. But this infinite being I found was like in oneness, or it was in unity consciousness, or it was just like this open space of beingness, and then like this permanent open space that I've always been, even as far back as I can remember, even before I was a kid, a baby. I could just remember just everything arising equally and effortlessly in this space of beingness. But then I realized as I got older, I started to identify with being this separate person called Rob. I have these likes, these dislikes. I go to school here, and that kind of thing. And then I have this relationship. I play this role in life as dad and husband and all these different roles. But what I truly am, the essence of what I truly am, is the infinite being. So that really resonated with me. So then I was listening to some of his stuff on YouTube and stuff like that. And then I had emailed him and told him, what I had realized that, wow, that I realized that I'm, the infinite being. And I realized that you are and everyone else really is. We all remain as this infinite being. We're just having this human experience. And so that really, I emailed him and then, we emailed back and forth. He's like, yeah, you realize your true nature. And then he had me doing like interviews with other people. And then I ended up having a YouTube channel like we are on now. Then people would call me. I'm doing like these coaching calls like pretty regularly now. People are coming my way, like, and we're just having like coaching calls and just like people discovering their true nature and wanting to manifest what they want out of life effortlessly without having to put forth all the effort. And a lot of, like you said, a lot of the things that I find that people that I'm having these coaching calls with is what they really want is they just want to feel good. They just want to feel better. And I mean, a lot of what Abraham teaches and Bashar and all them, they're teaching that too, that really what we want is everyone just wants to feel really good. They want to feel better. They want to feel good. They want to have happiness without having, any sorrow is what people really want out of life. And so, like you said, having car, the perfect relationship, the money, the vacations, the freedom to do it. They're really what they all want is just to feel that infinite freedom and have that infinite joy. And they think that those material things or that particular situation, that particular relationship, that particular career, that job, that's what's going to get it. But what they don't realize is they can have that right now. And then the funny thing is when you realize your true self, that I am the infinite being, I'm the sovereign being. I can have everything I want. I create my everything that's being created here is really coming from within me and being manifested out here. Because really, and then you kind of learn like it's a frequency game. Like if you're in the state of love and appreciation, it's almost like it mirrors it back. And then when you understand the world is duality and how much energy you're putting into duality, and then you realize, oh wait, I can create my own reality. I don't have to put all my energy into a lot of the negative emotions like disempowered, depression, anger, those you don't have to focus. You can withdraw your energy from that. And then you can focus on, oh, I appreciate what I have. You feel the love, that kind of thing. And then what you find is that's what's kind of manifesting around you. And that's becomes your life experience. So you can kind of manage how much energy you're putting into these different experiences, almost like you're empowered to have those choices. So when I heard those words, you're the infinite being having a human experience, that's really, it was like a big shift in my perception of the world. And then I found that once I had that, life just became more effortless for me. Like things just, I was like in the flow of life. There wasn't that much more effort in manifesting. I realized we're all manifesting anyway, whether we realize it or not. But it's just getting into alignment, with the higher emotions like joy and appreciation and love and ease and expansiveness, instead of the contraction or the limitedness. It's almost like when you realize you're the infinite being, it kind of opens up and things just manifest effortlessly for you and you experience life differently. So that's been kind of like my experience with the whole thing.
Ooh, getting thrill bumps, as I think Jerry Hicks used to say all the time. Hearing everything you're saying resonates so deeply, and it was bringing several good feeling perspectives to my mind. The biggest is the question I asked a few years ago: how did I get here? I understand I'm confident consciousness that has existed forever and will exist forever, and I accept that as a given. Said, how did I get here? And the ultimate answer that I perceive as the highest truth right now is we simply chose to forget who we are for the experience of remembering who we are, and the exhilaration in the joy in recognizing, oh my God, I'm not this separate self in this threatening world. I am complete consciousness, source consciousness, God consciousness, Christ consciousness, whatever you want to call it. And we all are, and we can be, do, or have anything we want. And the world is us, and we're completely free, existing in love, made of love. And as Bashar says, the source or creation or God is so unconditionally loving, it enables you to choose a perspective contrary to what the actual truth is, that everything is love, and then experience it in the illusion of separation and fear and all this. But recognizing we just chose intentionally to forget. And from that perspective, I feel the thrust of joy in remembering and coming into more and more powerful perspectives. Like you were mentioning, you can shift your focus or your perspective on anything in
Yeah,
any moment, right? You lose $1,000, you can choose the perspective, crap, I lost something, get the emotional feedback from the emotional guidance system. That's not true, but it's your right, and you're empowered with choosing to continue to focus on that, amplifying the fear, amplifying the separation. Or you can shift to the new perspective. Somehow this is benefiting me. I don't need to know how or why, but this is part of the journey that's going to bring more of everything that's me. I'm invincible. I'm untouchable. I'm consciousness itself. This is all a beautiful game made in love. And then you get the emotional feedback. Yeah, it feels good, right? You're aligned. You can amplify this and then ultimately experience more and more of that in the physical reality.
exactly. And everything you're saying resonates deeply with me. It's just like we're on the same wavelength with everything we're saying because I experience the world too, like as a almost like a virtual reality game, that we're playing. And that because you're right, we always remain as the pristine, infinite being. We have everything. We're whole. We're complete. We don't need anything. We have it all. We are it. We are everything. We're everything but no thing. We have it all. And what happens is, like you said, it's almost like we're remembering this. Like when those words resonate, I'm the infinite being, it's like, wait a second, I know this already. Like, how do I like it's just like rediscovering it. Like, I knew this the whole time, but I was caught up in my mind and my thoughts, and I was identifying my thoughts. I thought the thoughts were talking to me, that commentary in your head that's always, commenting about it. I thought that was me. And I'm like, wait a second, that's not me. That's just thoughts being piped in, and I'm choosing to personalize them, but really I'm the open space of beingness where all of these thoughts, emotions, feelings, they're coming and going, and for some reason I'm grabbing them and applying them to myself, to a separate self, and now I'm having this life experience. So I came to realize that. So I'm like, I almost look at like it's like a movie to me. Like the way my perspective now is like this is like a real like an action movie or some kind of movie, like a drama movie, and I can choose how much I want to participate. Almost like I'm like the actor playing the role of Rob, but I can withdraw from that, or I can change the role of Rob to be, this person or that person. But in reality, I'm always remaining as the pristine infinite being. So nothing that the actor's doing, the actor's never really hurt by anything happening in the movie. I'm not touched by it. So almost like when you have the freedom to know that, it's kind of like life becomes more like playful, I should say. It's more like a fun game. Like, there's not like it takes like the seriousness out of it. And there's just like an okayness here. And I think that's what everybody wants. They want to feel like, and I finally found that is that you just have this okayness in your life. Like everything's just okay, no matter what movie or life situation is playing. And like you said, you can put it in that perspective to make the life experience, more fun, more enjoyable. And I don't know. I think that's why I resonate with you because it looks like that what you're doing is you're playing the game as well, and it looks like you realize, what your true nature is, and it looks like you have that freedom, that infinite freedom to be able to be, do, and have everything you want. And it looks like you're displaying that. And I see that, in your interviews and as well as interacting with you on the cruises. So, that's why I resonated to have you on the call to share some of that, like, your insights and whatnot. It sounds like we're very much in alignment.
100%. And I loved your focusing in on that idea of being completely untouchable, like separating yourself from the character. It's one of the most empowering perspectives I've found that I remind myself of every day. No matter what I think or remember has happened to me in my past, I recognize right now in this moment, I'm whole and complete and fine. So any traumatic experience or anything my mind is showing me happened to me, it actually didn't really touch me. And I can choose to shift my perspective and thought and focus off of it in any moment, get different emotions, and literally live a different experience. One of Bashar's 5 actual laws of creation that he suggests are the only actual 5 laws in all of creation is that you exist forever, and that you're literally a new person every single second. In terms of, he kind of explains it through infinite parallel realities, almost like a film strip where there's infinite still frames. You pass your consciousness, which is the light, through the still frames to create this idea of continuity and movement, but you're literally a new frame every minute. And when at a lot of the Joe Dispenza events, he has all sorts of proofs of essentially spontaneous healings, or sometimes over the course of a week, of a month, stage 4 cancer will disappear, a thyroid will literally be regrown, other things like that. And the way Bashar explains it, and that resonates most deeply with me, you're just picking to hop to a new still frame that's further away from where you normally hang out. And as a result of it, the physical reality reflects that. So from that perspective, I am not like, it's not a philosophy or a theory that I'm a new person every second. According to the laws of physics of actual creation itself, I am literally a completely new person every second. And by changing my consciousness, I can get the reflection of literally a physical new body, or literally a physical new past that explains why I am where I am right now. So, from that idea of the past being created in the present rather than the present being created from the past, the unlocking from such a hard, solid reality is achieved, and it becomes so light and easy. And I love, one of my favorite perspectives and constant reminders is right there.
I could see your passion on that. I mean, really, if there really is only the now, John, you think about it, there's only now. Like in this now, right now, it's like the eternal now. There's infinite possibilities, because we're pure consciousness, we're infinite consciousness, we're the infinite being. We always were that, and we always will be that. Like there's no beginning, there's no end. And there's infinite possibilities before us at every second. And when you think about, that's one of the things I realized, like, wait a second, there really isn't time. Like I started thinking about time. Well, time is always now. Now is only the time. I mean, if I ask a tree or a bird, what time is it? They would say, it's now, and you think about it, there really is only now, and all of our power is right here in the now. So it's like this eternal now that's happening, this present moment. And I always say to people, like, what's wrong with right now unless you think about it? Like, if you're right here right now, really, what's the problem? Only problems people may be having is like thoughts like, oh, how am I going to pay my bills tomorrow? Oh, I'm having this fight in my relationship, or how am I going to raise my kids? Or, oh, the doctor said I have this disease, or and they're identified, with those things. But really, if you just rest right here, right now, if we just pause, because we can pause our thoughts, we can just, what's wrong with right now? Like, when you just pause and you just get quiet and listen to the stillness and the effortlessness, because it's not like I'm making all these things happen. It's like it's effortless being, it's happening, automatically. When we put up that resistance, we resist, persist. But if we just
Yeah.
relax into it and just let it flow, it's almost like it takes no effort to be. It's just effortlessly happening. There's like an ease about that, I don't know, like a resting, just like a flow. And life just tends to be that peaceful, joyful, effortless, easy, expansive flow with infinite possibilities.
Yeah, that is such a cool recognition and focusing in on it always being now. I've been listening to several Abrahams lately where she's blatantly stating thoughts and memories are received. Your brain is simply a receiving mechanism. It's more like an antenna or a channel or a YouTube channel that's streaming thoughts that are reflective of the emotional state of being I am in every moment. So, with that in mind, it becomes really easy. Your thoughts dead giveaway the emotional state of being you're in. And when I first started playing with this and looking back on past events in memory, I would look back at one specific event when I was in an angry emotion and see all the things wrong with that event. And I would look back on the exact same event when I was in a really good mood. And all of the sudden, elements within that exact same memory would be completely different. And I would find so many good feeling things that happened in that exact same moment. And that's when I realized memory is completely susceptible to the state of being I'm in right now. So even if I find myself with a strong non-preferred emotional momentum and state of being going, I can still maintain the seat of of consciousness now and awareness now and say to myself every time, all right, thoughts are being received, memories are being received, and they're indicating the emotional state of being I'm on. They're not necessarily inherently true. They are a truth, but all truths are true. And there's parallel realities that feel really good and parallel memories of the same circumstance that feel really good that are equally existent right now. And this is where the actual work is in these infinite, Bashar calls them permission slips or tools or techniques or processes, whatever, how everyone's playing this game to shift their state of being or their focus to a new channel, to a new frequency, to start receiving thoughts and memories that are more reflective of what they prefer. But it's so cool to recognize the thoughts are not inherently me. They're just one channel that I'm tuning to. And like you said earlier, placing myself into. But there's another channel and another channel, infinite channels. And I have the power to choose to a new one. And so does everyone else. And the way I most benefit myself and benefit the entire world is by choosing the best feeling frequency.
That's awesome. Yeah, yeah, David Bingham said that too. That really resonated with me when he was talking about how the thoughts would come into our space of consciousness. And it's almost like we're viewing them as like invitations to a party. There's the depression party, there's the joy party, there's all these invitations with these thoughts, and we can decide to give it our attention and personalize it, or we can just turn our attention away from it, let it pass, never suppress. Maybe suppress, you just want to let it all come up and then just let it go. But whatever you're identifying with and whatever you're giving your attention to and you're focusing on and you're personalizing it, then you're going to have that experience because you're the infinite being. There's, like you said, it's infinite possibilities. So, like you said, it's like a channel. Like there's all these frequencies going on. There's the, depression channel. There's the anger channel. There's the happy channel. There's the fun channel. There's the party channel. Which channel do you want to tune into today? And like you said, if for some reason, maybe that emotion's coming over you, you're feeling depressed or you're feeling angry, and then all you really need to do is just check your thoughts and just say, well, what thoughts am I having? Or, what's happening? And then you could just, like you said, you can just redirect, and because that could be like, it's like almost like a GPS system, right? Like a guidance system. It's like guiding you by how you feel. So your emotional scale, your emotions are really pointing the way. So you can check yourself. So if you're feeling joyful, that's great. Like, you continue to have those thoughts. But if you're feeling depressed or angry, you can always reach for a better feeling thought. You can change the channel. You are empowered to do that. And so many people are disempowered because they think that they are their thoughts. They don't realize that there's space there as the infinite being that you can, direct which way you want to focus on and have that particular life experience, whatever. It's almost like an energy game. Like how much energy do you want to give to that or that? And your power of attention and really on an identity level, like when you ask yourself, what am I? Some people might say, well, I'm Rob, I'm limited and I'm only going to live 70, 80 years. I don't have any power. Barely have any money. Or you can say, oh, I'm the infinite being, the pristine infinite being with infinite possibilities. I can be, do, and have anything I want. I'm empowered. Now, when you really believe that, not just, intellectually, but when you really know that for yourself, the life experience takes on a whole nother life experience for so much better.
Yeah, I love that phrase. The thought is an invitation to a party. I'm starting to see physical reality and my internal thought reality as almost the exact same thing, just kind of with a different focus, one looking outward, one looking inward, but basically the same thing's happening. Thoughts are coming and I'm deciding, do I want to go to this party? Just like experiences in the outer reality are coming and I'm deciding, do I physically want to move my body to this party? And I love that you were hinting at the fact that insistence is resistance, or like pushing something away is actually calling it towards. There's no such thing as no. So I
Right.
found so much power.
So
The
true.
invitation comes, and either I just look at it and go, or I go, hell yes, I'm going to run towards doing this. But like my no is just the subtle
Oh, thank you.
you and a shift of focus off of it, but is, no thank you for anything more than 17 seconds is going to start a momentum and actually start attracting more of it. And I love just being able to observe my thoughts, which is one of the things I appreciate most about meditation in Abraham's definition of just constantly bringing your focus back to center and releasing the thoughts. It's caused a practice and an awareness within me, which makes it so easy as the thoughts are arising to, I'm going to borrow your phrase now and use it in my head. Nope, I don't want to go to this party. And then just shift the focus off of it, generally by letting it go or finding something more exciting to play with and go towards.
Yeah, it's really cool that when you know that and you can play with it. It's fun. I like the way we use that word play because it's what it's like. It's like a play, this duality that we're in, this dualistic experience that we're having. But if I were to ask you this, if somebody were to ask you, they say, John, what are you really?
Ha. So I love Bashar because he answers questions from what I perceive as several different levels of perspective. And I would answer that by saying, I am consciousness itself, and I am capable and empowered to choose any level of perspective to receive an experience back. So Bashar sometimes will answer from what I call the all that is perspective. It's the broadest, most expansive, most unlimited perspective. But as a result of it, experiences tend to be really broad and general. And then he'll filter all the way down to like a very human perspective with a very specific response to a very specific question. For example, he's big in open contact, or meeting body to body with extraterrestrial beings. So I see in every moment I have the potential to select a perspective that's broad all the way down to very narrow. And as Abraham suggests, using the best feeling thought that feels good and going general, as she said, to going specific, and finding where feels best or how specific you can get while still feeling good. Um, so to answer that question, I would say I'm consciousness that's choosing a perspective, and the game I'm playing with it is how focused and narrow of a perspective can I choose while still feeling good. At some moments, it's what I call Bashar's five laws, right? I exist, everything's here and now. What I put out is what I get back. The only constant is change, except the first four laws. Elements like this, because in that moment with the momentum I have, that's the best feeling thing I can go to. I don't want to touch on my life, my experiences, what's going on. But in other moments, when I'm really keyed into who I am, I can get really specific and hold a $50 million check in my imaginary hand and just feel the waves of bliss and excitement and exhilaration in that thought. And it'll feel really good. The game really becomes fun when I try and I focus on that narrow and it doesn't feel good, and realizing, oh, it's time to go general, slip back up to that broader perspective and just play this game and find exhilaration in playing it, accepting myself being like, yeah, I got momentum going. I can't get specific and feel good. That's okay. We're going to chill out. We're going to go broad for a little bit and take it from there. And I would love to hear your answer to that question as well.
Yeah, definitely. First of all, I have to say, just, your energy is like what I resonate with. You just have that passion, that joy, that excitement for life, that aliveness, and that's really what resonates. It's even like I could just get lost in your energy. But so not even so much the words and everything. It's just like in the energy of it, like the vibration of it. Like that's our resonate with, because really that's our true nature. That's all of our true nature is, to be joy, to be love, to be appreciation, to be expansive. But when you said to me, when I asked you the question, what am I, and you were expressing that, the only question I had was when you say that I'm consciousness. Now, when you say I'm consciousness, are you saying I'm John consciousness, or is it something more expansive than that, would you say?
So again, my response would be it's all perspective based from
Mhm.
broad to narrow. So if I choose the broadest perspective that I'm aware of in consciousness right now, I would say I literally am all that is. All of reality contained within me, and everyone else is contained within me. The physical world is contained with me, just as I would afford the same perspective to everyone else. I am within your perspective and within your world, and you are all that is within your world. From the broadest perspective, that is what I am conscious of and aware of. If I do zoom down through all the different layers, I would come to another perspective saying, I am John in this physical body navigating it, and I can be, do, or have any physical experience I choose to have. But that's kind of empowered through and as a result of the broadest perspective. I need to start through the broadest lens and zoom in to achieve there. Um, so it's really a play of perspectives, but ultimately it's awareness itself or consciousness itself. There's a million different words for it, but essentially the knowing that I am is where it all starts from. And that's the broadest possible perspective and the broadest answer to who I am. I am that I am. And then I can come through any gradation to I am all that is. I'm an alien on another planet. I'm a tree, a plant, the world, all the way down to I'm this physical form navigating it. And all of them are valid. All of them are true. They're all options for me to select, embrace, and then experience.
Love it. Love how you explain that. Let me ask you a question, John. Can you stop being right now?
Nope, physically impossible. And I love Bashar's five laws because when I look at my actual experience, like my actual experience, not what someone else has told me is
Yeah.
true, not what some textbook is suggesting is true. When I look at my physical experience, his five laws are actually the only five things that I can truly validate through my own experience as being true. And his first law is you exist, period. You exist forever. Your consciousness, you're unlimited, you're untouchable. You can have all sorts of other experience based on that, but you exist forever. And through my own experience, just like you're saying, I have never ceased to be aware that I am in any moment. And I could say, well, if I go to sleep, I stop being aware that I am. But the interesting thing is, through my own personal experience, when I'm sleeping, perhaps I'm dreaming, in which sense I still have a sense of I am, or I'm in blackness, but I'm never actually aware of that blackness. I'll wake up from sleep, and in that instant, I'll be presented with the memory, oh, you've just been unconscious for 8 hours and sleeping and maybe have some dreams. But actually, I was never in a state of perceiving that nothingness while I was asleep. And actually, it's an interesting idea. I'm not convinced we actually sleep for 8 hours. I think in an instant, from my own personal experience, I'm falling asleep. Maybe I'm having some dreams, but those only arise really when I wake up, and I wake up. So, from my perspective, sleep's kind of an illusionary reset. The idea of a clock and an illusion is ticking for 8 hours, but I go to sleep and wake up in the same instant, and then I'm presented with memories and kind of like a refreshed state of being as a result of it. But every moment that I'm aware, and I'm aware of every moment.
I love how you explained it with direct experience. Because to answer your question, when somebody asks me like, "What am I have to go to my direct experience. I can't go by, what other people are telling me in a book or on a podcast or wherever. Like I have to just go to my own experience. And what I can tell you for sure, when somebody asks me, "What am I?" What I can tell you, John, all I know is that I exist, that I'm right here, right now, that I'm conscious, you know, and that I see things, there's things coming and going, there's feelings coming, there's emotions coming, there's thoughts that are coming, there's images that are arising. And I can tell you, I'm not doing it. It's just all happening effortlessly. And then there's this mind that comes in and starts commenting, about it, and they starts making a story about what's happening. But the whole time, I know that I'm remaining as the infinite being, or this effortless being, or this consciousness that's it's always here. It's always been here. I can remember at the age of 2, it was just always here. It was just consciousness. It was just this awareness, or whatever you want to call it. But it was impersonal. It wasn't like it was this personal thing. It was beyond words. It's almost like words are like almost bring it to duality. Like I don't even have the words for it. I could only really point to it, and the only thing I can tell you is that what I know for sure is that I exist. And I just feel like that this existence that's always been here, that it was a case of mistaken identity. Like I almost like identified it with like because everybody, society, your parents, the school teachers, feedback from other people, perceived other people is that I was this separate person with these limitations, with all these stories. But all I can tell you is that people can, that could all happen. But to me, it's just all like a story because the whole time I've just remained here as existence or consciousness the whole time, and all these things were playing out. And there was that I mean, that's just the way that what I know from my direct experience. I just feel like direct experience is king. Even anyone listening to us, don't matter what everyone's telling you. It's just what is your direct experience? What is it that you really know for sure? One thing I know for sure is that I exist. I've always existed, and I always will exist. And everything else to me is just a story. And we're all one. I feel like there's unity consciousness here. Like if I just rest right here, it's just like we're all one. It's just that when the mind comes in, that it creates this separate person. That I start identifying, with this physical body, saying I'm just this physical body, but I'm not like everything. I'm not like universes. I'm not like the space where everything is. Like I'm everything and no thing, because I'm no thing. Because there's nothing that anything that I'm aware of is not it. It's that which is aware. That's what's peering out these eyes. That's peering out of your eyes. We're one in that we're this one infinite being, or this one consciousness, or this one open space. And even me explaining it is really, it's just words I'm using. I'm not actually that word. It's just what I'm pointing to for you to see, or anyone to see, or any perceived others, because there really is no others. It's almost like a mirror, like I'm talking to myself in some ways. I don't know how to explain it, but that's all I can tell you that I know for sure is that what I am is that I exist.
You're doing a phenomenal job explaining it. I think it's Eckhart Tolle who always says I'm a pointer, or one of the channels always says I'm a pointer, and you're doing a phenomenal job at pointing to that idea of knowing your existence yourself. And um, Yeah, there's this guy Rupert Spira. I don't know if you've heard of.
Yeah,
He's
he was
he's
also in that book, The Greatest Secret. He was another one in there that Rhonda
oh
had in his book.
cool.
Yeah, he was in there. Yeah, he talks a lot like about non-duality or oneness or yeah.
Yes. You were pointing from more of an Eastern perspective. And I love when people blend of what I perceive more of like an Eastern perspective with more of a Western. Eastern would be like Rupert Spira, Eckhart Tolle, maybe like yoga, Buddhism, things like that. And Western, I would say, is more Abraham Hicks, Bashar, like the American type thing. And I see a perfect synchronicity between the two. But I was bringing up Rupert Spira because I watched a YouTube video of his where he talks about time and now, and it's short, maybe 15 minutes, but he's big on direct experience.
Mhm.
And the way he draws this questioning person through the experience of looking at their direct experience was mind blowing for me in terms of time, because he was saying, well, you believe there's a past, right? The questioner was like, yep, there's definitely a past. And he's like, well, let's just go there now to validate that there is a past. And then we'll come back to the present. And the way he takes the person through that, you realize you're never able to perceive anything outside of this present moment, and all the facts that people and textbooks and science is presenting you with about the past and about the future, it all exists right now. Like you can say this tree is from lived 200 years and I can prove it by carbon dating it. Well, when does the sample of the tree that you're carbon dating and when does the carbon dating actually occur? Well, it's all occurring right now. Yeah, science and people and textbooks are telling you this number on this chart about this carbon dating means this, but the actual direct experience is all objects from the past exist now, and there's absolutely no way to go back to the past to validate that that object existed back then. And I would encourage you and anyone to listen to this short Rupert Spira video on YouTube, and just it had like a epic mind-blowing moment for me in it, in just how he beautifully threads the person through their questioning to constantly recognize there is absolutely no way to prove that there's a past or a present, and there's no way for you ever to go outside the present moment.
I love that. And it's interesting too, like what resonates with different people. And like it's just like infinite consciousness has all of these ways that it can come about, that you can resonate with different teachings or different things or and your direct experience and your intuition, your inner guidance, there's like this just knowingness of the way you should go. And I just love that with time. I mean, you think about it, we're only really right here, right now. And anything in the past, when did the past happen? It happened in the now. When's the future going to happen? It's going to happen in the now. I'm just thinking about the future, but I'm thinking about it now. And speaking of the future, what I want to talk to you about is why do I keep meeting you on Abraham Hicks cruises? What is it that's like that? Why do we keep going? Like, what's going on? Like what's happening with that? Like, and this is like I don't know, my fourth cruise, and I got two more planned. I'm going to Amsterdam, the one in July. I'm going to that one as well. But I'm going to see you in March. What is it? What's going on?
Yes. For me, I recognize now this is really a feeling reality, right? My feelings are indicating hotter, warmer. I love Abraham always talks about how Jerry used to play that game with grandkids, the hotter, colder game, right? Warmer, warmer, colder, colder when you're going in a
Yeah, yeah.
direction. The emotions are that indicator. And for me, as soon as I like saw you, I was like, oh, I am vibing with this guy, and you represent emotionally warmer for me. Whatever you got going on is something I want to scoop off the buffet and put on my plate. And I feel like we're vibing a lot and keep bumping into each other because you have a frequency of vibration that I am excitedly moving towards. You're already there. And I love that you keep showing up because it's a reflection to me that I'm on the right track. I'm choosing my joy in every day. And you're part of that. I love surrounding myself with people who have perspectives and frequencies and states of being that are what I perceive to be as higher than mine, in the sense of maybe more joyful, more true, more actualized than I am, because I always want to be moving towards something that I perceive as greater than myself. From the broadest perspective, I recognize I'm all that is. I'm already it. I'm
Yeah,
already
yeah,
whole.
you got
But
there.
right in this experience where I narrow down into pretending I'm John in this character, from that narrow experience, I want to play the game of constantly upping myself to be more and more of who I truly am. And you represent that. A lot of people I've been meeting represent that. And I love moving towards it. I had the coolest experience last week. There's
Tell me.
this company Gravity out of the United Kingdom. They invented a literal jet pack. They call it a jet suit. That's the trademark name. But it's this device you backpack in these arm thrusters, and you literally fly like Iron Man or the Rocketeer, some of these
Wow.
movies we've seen. I went for a week of training last week in Bakersfield, California, where they have a US facility. It's kind of like riding a bike. The coaches were so cool. They give you some pointers, they hook you up to this safety rig, and you get to kind of go at it. They level throttle your power to make sure you don't injure yourself or whatever, but you kind of start to get a feel for it. And it's literally like reflective of this idea of flying. I'm going to fly. And I'm going through this 30-day training program, not continuous, but chunks at a time to get to fly. But one of the coolest elements of it were the the employees of the company plus other people who are training to become a jet suit pilot, plus some other people around the airport who were just really curious and excited what was going on here and were coming around. All these people, every single one of them had personality elements and characteristics and things going on in their life that reflected to me elevated above where I am. And I was just exhilarated to get to hang around with 10 other people all week. And it was kind of changing who these 10 people were. Some days, some people had to go, other people would come, but they all had personality characteristics that were beyond and above and reflected where I wanted to be. And I was keyed in on constantly emulating and seeing how they are, kind of trying on that way of being. And it felt great. And what was also interesting to see, a lot of them were just so relaxed, so personable, so humble, but so knowing of their worthiness and their well being.
Love that.
And they had endless stories from life proving how good life is to them, how easy life is, how everything they want just comes to them. And it's refreshing to constantly be encountering people. And I would definitely include you in that group who are reflective of who I want to be in many ways and being able to practice emulating that. So I thank you for that.
Yeah, it's so cool, man. I love everything you're saying. Like, and these Abraham Hicks cruises, I don't know, something about like being on them. It's just like the people, like the energy of them is like is high. They're joyful. They're having fun. There's a lightness about them. There's an expansiveness. There's a joy. And I can just remember like going up to like the nightclubs at night where everybody's just like dancing and free and happy and like not it seems like not a care in the world. Everyone's just like it's almost like I wish other people could see like what that world is like because it's such a like I don't know. It's like it's just so fun, so relaxing, so joyful. It's such a lightness. It's like nothing you would ever experience. Just being there on the cruise, you're having a drink, you're around all these, cool people and people that are they're just positive and they're just carefree and I don't know. It's just like I would say, like aligning with your true nature, because that is what our true nature is. Life's supposed to be fun. Like it's not supposed to be like so dreadful and like striving and hard. Everything. We're the infinite being. Everything should be coming to us, attracted to us. We should have this effortless life. It should feel effortless. It doesn't like people like looking at me and be like, "Wow, this guy's doing this, this, and that." I don't feel like I'm doing really anything. It's just all happening naturally and effortlessly. It's because you're in alignment and you know what you truly are. And we all are this. And everyone can have this. Like everyone can tune into this and be this. And just like those cruises are just I don't know. I just love it. It's just really it's like I feel like I'm home. Like oh man, this is like my family. Like, this is cool. Like we're having a good time. I mean, cool. You know how great those cruises are, man. I see you out there too. It's a lot of
Oh,
fun.
big time. I was always afraid of dancing and just being out there and so many things, but dancing is the
Free.
biggest example that comes to mind. Yeah. On the Abraham cruises, so many of the new people I met were dancing, and I was like, whatever, why not? I'm gonna just give it a go and go out on the dance floor. And now, like every cruise, I don't know how many I've been on, 8 of them. But after my first one where I challenged myself to dance for the first time, I
Yeah,
love
I
dancing.
see you
I
out there the
love
whole
being
time,
out
man.
there.
I'm out there too.
I've
I'm
gotten tons of compliments. Girls come up to me,
like
"Hey, you're a great
freedom.
dancer."
dancing,
Yeah. And I'm like,
and there's
right.
such a variety of people from all walks, and they're all just all walks of life, and everybody's just having a good time. I just really vibe with that energy, man.
I could almost do a like a 6 month cruise with Abraham if it was an option. But
That
I
crowd
love
is cool.
Abraham people.
Yeah,
Very cool crowd.
yeah. And I
Yeah.
even like just sitting there listening to Abraham talk and like get in the crowd, people get in the hot seat and they talk. It's very entertaining and uplifting to hear all of that.
A cool thing I've noticed about the cruises, and I bet you have too. So roughly half the ship is there for Abraham, right? I think versus
Yeah.
just regular passengers. So
Yeah.
there's whatever, roughly say 1,000 people who are there to see Abraham, or 800 people, however many they are. It's the same probably 100 people who I constantly see and bump into all day, every day. And I'll
Story about
meet
the
people.
cowboy. The cowboy's in here. You know, the
Yes.
cowboy.
Shout out to Jimmy
All
the
my
cowboy.
experiences on the cruise, right, are in this book.
And it's so cool to see that natural frequency alignment with certain people, even within the Abraham niche, how you vibe with certain people. And every time I meet someone like you, they'll know a handful of the people, the same people who
Yes.
I've been keyed into. And this structure like builds among itself. This awesome community just naturally emerges of the same group within the group. And it's just exhilarating to see.
Oh, it's so cool. So you're going to be on the Fort Lauderdale one. I'm assuming we'll have a dinner before the show again. I mean, we'll see what comes out. Are you doing
Yeah.
the one to Amsterdam or no?
Is that's the one that goes through like the Nordic Peninsula, or that's its own
Yeah, it
event?
goes to like Berlin, Germany, all all those different countries. It flies into Amsterdam. That's in July 3rd or 4th, I think it is. It's like a 12-day cruise and it hits the whole Baltic region, and Denmark
I
and
am
all.
signed up. I will
Are you
definitely
really?
see you there. I didn't look at the details. I saw it was the Nordic Peninsula and I
Yeah,
signed up, but I didn't
yeah,
even look at
man.
the dates yet or the details. I just said yes, I am in.
I, that becomes so effortless to me. Like, but previously, if you told me, "Oh, okay, we're gonna go to Amsterdam," I was like, now with the Abraham cruise, like, I just like, yeah. And whenever on the cruises, like, they'll talk about the ones coming up. We're like, yeah, I'm going to that. Like, it's just natural to go. It's like I'm in. Like, how can I not go? And then some people think, well, how can I go? I got to get off work, or I can't afford it, or I got to watch the kid. Like, I don't know. What I do is I just make the decision to go, and everything just lines up effortlessly. I'm not kidding. Like, I'm going this
Yes.
big my seventh cruise. And I'll be going 8, 9. Like, it just all just flows just like that, and it
The
just
power
manifests.
of deciding. You make the decision. One of my favorite Dr. Joe lines in almost all his meditations, he goes, "You just gotta want it."
You
And he
just
says it
gotta
with so
want
much
it, baby.
passion. Yeah. And I think of that every day. Like, ooh, that looks cool. And then I hear Dr. Joe say, "You just gotta want it." And I'm like, yeah, yeah, I can have it.
You can have anything you want. You can have. You can, like you said, you can be doing have anything you want. And then like the thought will come in. No, you can't listen to that thought. It doesn't apply to you. It's not your
That's not my
reality.
party, like you say.
No,
No, I'm
yeah,
not
I
going to join
decline
that
that
party.
invitation. Forget that invitation. I don't want to go to that party. I want to go to the I can be, do, and have anything I want party.
And be with other people who are just constantly focusing in on that. And this conversation has felt so good for me. I will talk about possibility and consciousness all day, every day.
Yes. Yes, it resonates with me too. This has been a great conversation. Thanks for spending the time with me and connecting with you. I look forward to seeing you on the cruise. I'm sure we'll be out there dancing and having a drink and having a good time at the pool and everything else that we're doing and seeing all the people. I'm looking forward to it. It's really cool. And it's so nice connecting with you. I kind of resonate with you and your energy and your consciousness. And it's been a great conversation.
Likewise, you are the man, Rob. Appreciate it. I'm uplifted from this conversation, and
Me too, man.
my
I'm fired
feeling is all
up.
I care about. Oh,
Fire me
yeah.
up, man. Fire me up, John. I'm fired up.
Fired up.
Good times, man. All right, man. I'll talk to you later. We'll talk soon. Thanks again.
Be well.
All
My
right.
pleasure.
All right, buddy. Be well.